attempting a Shadow Pokemon Ribbon Master on emulators. Yeah, this might be a terrible idea. In this video, I'm trying to earn every available ribbon in Generation 3 on a single Pokemon. The Ribbon Master Challenge is all about taking a Pokemon and earning every ribbon it can possibly obtain. For this challenge, I wanted to ribbon a wild caught Pokemon from my XD Gale of Darkness playthrough. No shiny, no perfect IVs, maybe not the best nature, just a random Pokemon, taking on an absurd challenge. For years, I've avoided the Shadow Ribbon Master Challenge, mainly because I literally couldn't start. I don't own the older hardware, and I don't have all the older Pokemon games. The financial barrier alone is huge, and the time investment is seriously quite daunting to think about. That's a big reason why most of my Ribbon Master runs have been on the Switch. It's what I actually have access to. Going back to the older generations always felt like one of those, yeah, that's cool, but I'm never doing that, ideas. But then, this idea started to grow. Well, why don't we use emulators? I know this challenge has traditionally been done on original hardware, but with how expensive and inaccessible that setup is, it's just not realistic for everyone to spend thousands on outdated consoles and games. It's impossible to find the older games at reasonable prices because all the deals get snapped up by resellers, which keeps the games at hyperinflated values. Emulators open the door for way more people to even attempt something like this, and that accessibility is exactly why I'm even thinking about starting. Emulators are incredibly powerful, and anyone who denounces them has absolutely no clue what they're talking about. I went through the list of every Pokemon from XD that could still earn every available ribbon in 2026 using Athos's ribbon guide. I couldn't decide on the one Pokemon, so I let luck choose for me. Alright, I guess we're doing Snorunt. To begin this challenge, I needed to actually play Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I used Dolphin Emulator to simulate the GameCube game and caught every Shadow Pokemon available. Catching tactics applied. Weaken the Pokemon and inflict a status condition so that it's easier to catch. I went with Premier Ball because it was the nicest ball I had at this point of the playthrough. You see that Snorunt there? That's going to be a future Ribbon Master. The first ribbon we're going for is a Mount Battle ribbon, where you must win 100 times in a row without changing your team. After finishing the game, we made sure to have some over-leveled Pokemon to cheese through the battles with ease. It takes several hours to get through all 100 battles because of all the character animations, but it's not really a hard ribbon to get. The opponent's Pokemon cap at level 70, and you get healed after every battle, so you just need a couple Pokemon to carry the fights. After earning the Earth ribbon from the trials at Mount Battle, we just need to get one more ribbon before we migrate out of the Ore region, the exclusive National ribbon, which is obtained after purifying a Shadow Pokemon. In XD Gale of Darkness, we can just put the Pokemon into the purification chamber at the Pokemon Lab. With both the National Ribbon and Earth Ribbon under our belt, it was time to give Snorunt a nickname for the rest of the journey. I want to evolve the Snorunt to Frostlass eventually, so we went with the name Ice Maiden. When the name is in all caps, it feels like it's screaming at you. Instead, we changed the name to include lowercase letters because it looks more classy. Ready to say goodbye to the Ore region and travel to the land with too much water. Before we could start thinking about acquiring the Hoenn ribbons, we had to consider the technicalities of transferring Pokemon between emulators. Dolphin Emu has a GameBoy Advance emulator integrated into the software. If you go to Configuration, then navigate to Controllers, you can change Port 2 so that GBA is integrated. You should configure hotkeys for a second player so that you can commence a trade between the GameCube and the GameBoy Advance emulators. Next, Go to the Settings for the GameCube tab. To make the transfer possible, you need to download a file called mGBA and link it to your GBA BIOS. I got it from Internet Archive. Also ensure that your Gen 3 ROM is linked to the Port 2 ROM and that your Gen 3 save file is in the same folder as your ROM. At this point, you need to have a Gen 3 save file that has beat the Elite Four and reached the post-game on top of finishing Pokemon XD/Colosseum. Check that your GBA game is connected and reset the game when your GameCube is on the GBA connection screen. Have Pokemon you are willing to trade in your party, not in your PC boxes, and make sure to save in a Pokemon Center. Oh yeah, and you can't trade Pokemon that know HM moves in the earlier generations. I had to look up several guides to make this possible. You can see me finicking around to make this work. Aside from needing a completed Gen 3 save file, the whole transfer process can be done with just the Dolphin emulator. I'm trying to remember what hotkeys I put for the second player. Okay, so you have your completed XD or Colosseum save file, and your completed Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald save file. You do the trade, and it updates your save files to reflect the trade. Then you want to import the Gen 3 save file into a GameBoy Advance emulator so that you can continue with the ribbon challenge. Oh, you thought it was that easy? Tut, no. I tried to import the Pokemon Emerald save file after the trade, but it didn't open. It wouldn't load the game. Really important lesson, always make backups of your data. VisualBoyAdvance could load my backup save file, but it couldn't open the save file with the traded Pokemon. Why is this not working? I was searching up online how to fix this issue, and it turns out the save file size with the traded Pokemon was 129 kilobytes, when it is normally 128 kilobytes. Somehow the clock feature was added into the save, so to fix this issue, we had to use an online hex editor to remove the clock feature. So this is what I did. I searched up hex editor online, clicked on the first one I saw, pressed open file, and put in the save file with the traded Pokemon, which was 129 kilobytes. Put that in, scroll all the way to the bottom and delete the last line. You just delete that one line at the bottom and export. Yes, I want to delete the last 16 bytes in one selection. Press export. That should fix the issue. The save file should be 128 kilobytes and hopefully it'll load in VisualBoyAdvance now. I quickly renamed the file name to mention hex removed so I could keep track of it easily. Open the Gen 3 Pokemon ROM, import the battery save file with the hex removed. Voila, it should work. Yes, it worked! You have no idea how giddy I was seeing Ice Maiden and Emerald. You know how much troubleshooting I had to do? Oh wow, we can actually try to get all the ribbons in Generation 3. Where do I start? I've obviously played these games before, but this is the first time I've tried to do a ribbon master from the earlier generations. Let's go beat up Wallace. The Pokemon League Champion ribbon is nice and easy to start with. Ice Maiden is basically getting hard carried into the Hall of Fame. There are 20 ribbons dedicated to contests in Pokemon Emerald. Throughout this challenge, I used Athos's ribbon handbook to keep track of which ribbons I needed because it was easy to read. Frankly, I felt overwhelmed with all the information on berry blending and making PokeBlocks, so I started with trying to get the contest scarves. The contest scarves would help our chances of winning as they increase the Pokemon's visual appeal in the contests when held. I used 10 Pomeg, 10 Kelpsie, and 10 Quallop berries to make 3 sets of PokeBlocks, which I fed to 3 Ziggies separately to acquire the contest scarves. We spent hours of off-screen grinding and berry duping and reading video guides on PokeBlocks and doing the berry blending minigame multiple times and teaching Ice Maiden the moves Rest and Sleep Talk and Snore. I forget how much work it takes to prepare for the contests. For the PokeBlocks, I used the single-player berry blending guide to make 7 high-quality PokeBlocks from Salac, Ganlon, Apricot, and Pitaya berries. To my understanding, the contest stats can't be maxed out as a single player for Generations 3 and 4, but we can get them high enough to give us an easier time with the contests. I also want to save a little bit of sheen for the Mild Poffin in Pokemon Platinum to further boost Ice Maiden's contest stats. These contest stats aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. I think we're finally ready to attempt the Hoenn contests. Contests take a lot of hours to grind through. That being said, I find the Gen 3 contests aren't too bad, they're just time consuming, especially when you're doing at least 20 of them. We thrashed through all of the normal rank and super rank contests from the visual score alone. I would always equip a contest scarf to help with this. For the appeals, I basically went with the tried and true rest and snore / sleep talk strategy, where you legit just alternate between those 2 moves. Rest is a good move for Gen 3 contests because the opponents just keep trying to trip you up and startle your Pokemon, so you can avoid that once per round with Rest. You get guaranteed points every time you do the Rest-Snore combo. This tactic will carry you through all the Gen 3 contests. Master Rank contests are a bit harder, but still doable. Also, generally speaking, you don't want to repeat the same move the round immediately after, because if you do, you'll lose hearts for disappointing or boring the judge. I did say this took hours, right? For the Master Rank contests, I used heart scales and TMs to get a move that matched the contest style in case the audience appeal was close to maxing. That way, I could increase the audience appeal and get the crowd going when possible. When you do a Master Rank contest in Gen 3, if you get a lot of appeal hearts, there's a chance for an artist to come and do a nice painting of your Pokemon to commemorate its victory. There would be playthroughs where, well, I've got the contest Master Rank ribbon, but I need to get the paintings, bro. For the artist ribbon, you just need to win 1 contest at Master Rank and get a painting of your Pokemon. After going for all the Master Rank contest ribbons and all the paintings, I thought, yeah, I know how to win the Gen 3 contests now. I'll just put a quick montage of the rest of the Master Rank contest ribbons and paintings because I recorded all this footage. Might as well put it in the video. And hopefully you also get an idea of how long it can take to grind through these contests if you haven't done them before. After admiring all the paintings and finishing all the Gen 3 contests, I wanted to watch TV to unwind. Now, this Pokemon boasts a master rank in the cool category. Introducing Ice Maiden the Snorunt, the nickname Ice Maiden. Even the nickname exudes an air that proclaims cool. Anyway, when the trainer time entered the Pokemon in the contest, we managed to get a few impassioned quotes about the trusty partner. Asked about the contest afterwards, Time happily replied with a huge grin. Funny! Well, sure, Time Pokemon came in number 1 in the contest. That line perfectly suits Time right now, I say. Wouldn't you also like to know what Time imagines cool to be? You bet we did, so we asked, of course. The answer is all perfectly condensed. Dragon! Dragon, these nuts go across your face. Huh? The Snorunt is entirely about dragon. Bravo, Time! Bravo, Snorunt! I hope we could see the rest of this journey. Once I finished the contests, I changed emulators from VisualBoyAdvance to mGBA because I had to do the contests again and it didn't save the first time. We started EV training Snorunt and yes, I used speed up because holy cow, this is such a monotonous grind. Even with a Marshall brace, it's a huge time sink. It made me miss the quality of life features of the recent Pokemon games. Like in earlier generations, you can't just max out all the effort values of vitamins. I had to EV train the Battle Tower Pokemon too. For Ice Maiden, I made her train against Numel for special attack EVs and Wingull/Zigzagoons for speed EVs. You can just run away from wild Pokemon that don't give the effort values you want. I was very careful to not let Ice Maiden go past level 50 until we got the level 50 Battle Tower ribbon. But I did want my Pokemon to have a chance of pulling its weight in the Battle Tower, hence the EV training in this generation. All this EV training made me think about that Pokemon Rusty jingle.
We're gonna be here for a while.
EV training, you're sucking the fun out. EV training, you're too old for this, exploiting the game, cause you don't have a life. Beating up kids makes you feel like a man. EV training, yeah!
Oh, you're Snorunt. Wait for it stupendously.
Oh, I would know. I just need the Battle Tower ribbons, and then I can migrate Ice Maiden out of Gen 3. Thoughts on Battle Tower ribbons? Oh, they're horrible to get. For the Battle Tower, I went with the Worcester Speedrun Dream Team, aka Metagross and Latios did most of the heavy lifting. The first 20 rounds are fine, but then once you get to like 30 and 40 plus win streak, it's like rigged. It just starts throwing bullcrap after bullcrap at you. I think you have to be a masochist to enjoy Battle Tower. There's so many wacky sets, and all it takes is one gimmicky set for the opponent to win to bring you back to square one. It took me like a month and a half to get all the Gen 3 ribbons. I'm starting to worry about how long Gen 4 is gonna take. I don't even know if I want to do Gen 4. Of course we got the 2 Gen 3 Battle Tower ribbons. It only took a lot of off-screen grinding and pure luck and getting burnt out. Thanks for watching my attempt at the Shadow Pokemon Ribbon Master Challenge.